Everyone, I'm the Gnome, and today I'd like to talk to you about some upcoming, and by that I mean quite far upcoming, comic book movie releases. We're going to start with the Avengers, and then we're also going to talk about the recently announced and just recently announced Batman vs Superman film. So the Avengers has got its kind of colon subtitle, which is Age of Ultron, and as a story arc, kind of makes sense, to be honest, because Age of Ultron will introduce a big giant robot for them to fight and probably lots of little other robots for them to smash. Because what you don't want them to do is you don't want them to kill any humans. So we've had them trashing aliens in the last one, and robots are quite cheap to design and smash and kill without really anybody actually caring about them. For example, if they had went maybe down the Ultimate route, where a group of foreign Ultimates team decide to take over and stop the main Ultimates team, and they fight, then you've got some kind of human-on-human conflict, where it's a little bit more difficult to put kind of good guys v bad guys, whereas you got the Avengers versus evil robots, that's nice and easy to put good guys versus bad guys. Hopefully we'll see a couple of the nice kind of Ultron related links from the comic books. Hank Pym, who is the designer behind Ultron, hopefully should be making an appearance in this film. Will he be an abusive wife beater? Probably not, because it's the Avengers and everything's sunny and shiny. So I wouldn't be expecting him to smack the Wasp around. They've also announced that the Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver are going to be in the film, but haven't cast them yet. So that'll be interesting to see basically how they'll do a speedster. DC will obviously be watching in great detail, because if Marvel is successful showing Quicksilver in a big movie, then that allowed them to move forward with the Flash movie. So they're all kind of interlinked. And basically the best part of Ultron is Thor smashes a wall down and says the immortal words, Ultron, we would have words with thee, which is totally badass, and then that a big fight. So that's coming. Joss Whedon's still writing and directing it, so can't really go wrong, to be honest. So that should be good. I think it's a decent choice. Obviously, looks like we'll have probably the big purple dude, whose name I've entirely forgotten, just floating about in the background. Maybe makes an appearance at the end, and then sets up for the third film. So you don't want to kind of blow the load too early with them. I would have liked to seen Civil War. Civil War would be awesome. What Civil War is a group of untrained superheroes get involved, and a school is blown up. And because the school's blown up, the press go mental, as you would expect. And they try and bring forward or introduce a registration act. So everyone who's got superpowers needs to register. Iron Man, all for it, because he's a corporate tool. Captain America, Prince of Liberty, yeah, not so much. So that sets up the conflict between Iron Man, Captain America. All the heroes are split on either side. Spider-Man starts on the pro and then ends up going on the against side. And some really cool fight scenes in it. It was written by Mark Miller before he just started writing any old offensive bollocks, and art by Steve McNiven, which was beautiful. So Civil War, whilst it's a mint story, is never going to happen, because they're never going to make an Avengers film that's got a complex of comic books. Who is the good guy? Who is the bad guy? It has to be clear good guys with clear bad guys, so all the 12 to 14-year-old fans don't get confused. Now, moving on, at the San Diego Comic-Con convention, Zack Snyder has admitted he's now going to be directing a Superman vs. Batman film to be released in 2015. That seems ages away, but it's already July 2013. I don't think they've even got a script yet, let alone anyone to play Batman. And that's basically the first of my concerns. Henry Cavill's coming back as Superman. Fair enough, he looks super heroic. No issues really with that. Really, my concern is who's going to be the bad guy. As we've just discussed there, aliens in the first Avengers film and then evil robots in the second film make sense because then they're all kind of similarly powered. Who is Superman and Batman going to face that Batman is involved in any way, shape or form? If we think back to the great recent Batman film, which is The Dark Knight, he has trouble fighting dogs at the beginning of that. And then we've also got Superman, who is happy to have a throwdown, destroy a city. So there's a power differential. So who's the bad guy going to be? Who could it possibly be? So they're fighting like back to back. Are you really going to believe any kind of tension? If it's, even if they recast the Joker, which obviously they won't, at least for now, and do Lex Luthor as kind of a team up, Superman's there, which is my concern with any kind of DC movie. If Superman's there, he can do everything. Unless they decide to try and depower him at the beginning, maybe through some kind of kryptonite bollocks, to bring Superman and Batman at a more kind of even keel. But it doesn't work. It barely works in the comics, and that's pure fantasy. It's not going to look right in the movies if you've got Superman who can do everything. Why would you rely on Batman for any way, shape or form? The Avengers had a similar issue, to be honest, in which you have the likes of the Hulk, Thor, sharing screen space with a guy who's good with a bow and a woman who's good with guns. They pretty much successfully kind of get that balance by really keeping them separate. So at no point do you see a throwdown between Thor and Hawkeye, because it would last about 4 seconds. And not for Hawkeye, obviously, even though I love Hawkeye and Hawkeye. You should definitely read the Matt Fraction comics, Hawkeye, it's immense. So what are they going to do? Is it going to be an extraterrestrial threat? Because if it is, what's Batman going to do? And I can't really imagine Metropolis existing alongside of Gotham. So you got Metropolis, it's, well, once it's rebuilt, obviously, is shiny city of the future, where you've got Superman making sure everything's hunky-dory. And then, what, 3 hours away, you've got Gotham, which is dark and horrible and lives in the Middle Ages, essentially, and there's lots of crime and stabbings and stuff. They don't seem to kind of balance up as a single kind of universe. And unless they decide in the next Batman film to kind of amp him up, so he's more comic Batman than the kind of realistic Batman that Nolan went with, I think it's going to jar somewhat. And I just don't think those two characters will necessarily balance. Yes, it'll make all the money in the world, because Batman and Superman are the most famous of the superheroes, but as a movie, I really don't think that it will connect. And I just don't think that the balance is going to be there. Because at any point, it'll be like, oh, we've got this, no matter what the issue is, right, we've got this problem. Superman can solve it. Oh, we're locked inside this death cabinet. Superman can solve it. Oh, there's a giant robot coming here. Superman can solve it. Batman, what are you actually doing? Nothing. He's doing absolutely nothing. So I don't really get why. It makes sense in a Batman's own film, because he can then fight Batman-level villains, as we've seen with Bane and the Joker and Scarecrow. That makes perfect sense. The ninjas, he can fight ninjas. But if you put like Superman in that position, it'd be like, oh, the League of Shadows, flick, flick, I'm done. Oh, Bane, flick, done. Oh, the Joker, flick, done. So I just don't really get to see how that's going to work as a big picture, especially with the kind of realistic, somber, grey, brown tones that they clearly will be bringing. Sorry. Whereas the Avengers is bright and fun, and you kind of forgive it a little bit more for some of the more kind of nonsense elements, like an archer and a spy getting in the mix with these kind of with a demigod and a Hulk. Whereas if they do go the more kind of realistic manner, it's just going to look stupid. Oh, it's a dude and there's Superman. It's Superman and his sidekick, because Batman will be the sidekick because he's just a dude. Not even a particularly spectacular dude, he's just a dude. Which is why, if then when they reboot it, they'll probably have to bring in a more kind of comic book-esque Batman that's always thinking ahead, is feared by us, he's got additional, almost superhuman kind of skills, just to try and kind of balance that out. Because if not, basically that it'd be equivalent of Hawkeye being the main character rather than Iron Man in the Avengers. How fucking stupid would that look? So Loki is talking to Loki in the film Avengers is talking to Iron Man, how he's going to trash him, and then instead of Iron Man, who's got this billion-dollar power suit with lasers and can fly, it's Batman who talks in a deep voice and has a cape. That just for me it jars. It might work. I don't know how. There'd be some fucking good screenwriter, but does the plot really need to work for it to not make £1 billion? No, it basically they could do whatever they want, and it would make £1 billion because it's Batman and Superman. I don't think Zack Snyder's a particularly great director. I think he's just started decent and then tailed off, quite like Dawn of the Dead for the most part. 300 was flashily directed, but then it's been a bit shit since then. So basically, I've got my concerns. It's going to make me sound like a Marvel fanboy of DC, and to be fair, I am, because I think this Marvel universe makes a little bit more sense. But I do have concerns with a Superman and Batman movie. What about you? Do you think a Superman-Batman film will work? Who do you think should be the Batman? Let me know. I'll see you on Twitter, Facebook, even comments on YouTube. Let me know, because I'm actually interested to see kind of what you would do in this scenario if you were in charge. So cheers everyone. That's going to be my bit for this lovely Sunday morning, because it's not sunny outside, so I gotta have an excuse to sit in the dark and play video games. So I'll see you later. Cheers. Good night.